Hi ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Today's video is all about art galleries and the reason why you don't need to show with them, put your work with them, or be represented by them. Now, before you all start reaching for the keyboard and leaving comments, let me explain the reasons why as we wander around my own art gallery, which I must admit is just for my own stuff. I'm going to explain to you the reasons why I think that the whole model is pretty much outdated, why it doesn't work anymore, why they're behind the times, and why actually, as a creative person and as an artist, you just simply don't need to go down that route anymore. And the reason is we're in the 21st century, for goodness sake. So there are lots of things open to you that will help you avoid having to go with galleries and go through all of this horrendousness that normally associates with being represented by one. Now, as we go for a little wander now, some really crucial points that I want to talk about, and that's we're going to identify the reasons why they can be a real problem for you. But as we talk, I'm hopefully going to try and give you some reasons as to why you can do this for yourself. Okay, so let's go straight in with point number one. So point number one, you may or may not already know it, and if you're not with a gallery, this is something you're going to find out if you do approach them. They will take a percentage of the ticket price of your work as their fee. You can call it a commission, you can call it whatever you want, but ultimately they will take money from you to do the work. Now, there's no problem with that. If somebody is going to do work on your behalf, i.e. sell your work, then they will take a cut. That's just basic common sense and it's basic business. My issue is the amount of money and the percentages that galleries can take from you. Now, of course, I am generalizing here, and if you're a gallery and you're watching this and you're only taking 10% of an artist, fine, fair enough, whatever, I'm not really interested. But we both know galleries that can take 55, 60% of the ticket price from an artist's work. It's not really justifiable in my eyes. So that's my biggest, first of all, my fundamental problem is they will take a percentage of your money. Now, if you want to keep hold of your money, then it's important then that you take some of this ownership on for yourself. So we're going to talk about that a little later on. Problem two, they don't work exclusively for you. The only person that works exclusively for you and has your best interests at heart is you. So how can you expect another organisation or a company to work on your behalf when they may have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, I don't know how many artists they're also representing. So they don't get to spend enough time with you and what you do to give you the justification that your creativity deserves. Problem number three, let's say you're with a gallery and you sell something, how do you know who your clients are? I mean, I know all of mine, personally by name, I got a record of it, so I know exactly where every piece of art goes, who they are, what kind of person they are, where they live, all that information. Do you ever get that from your gallery? You're never going to know who your work's being sold to. Big problem. Here's another big problem. If you're with a gallery already, they don't like you dealing with clients directly. So I know one particular artist I can relate this to, and fantastic at what she does. And she will have maybe, here and there, people get in touch with her and go, oh yeah, I've seen your work in such and such a place, but what I'd really like is a commission doing. So suddenly in front of you, you've got a paying client who's going to pay all the money to you. Well, galleries don't like that as well. They want you to use them exclusively. So there's that problem as well. There's this kind of relationship issue that you can have with them as to who deals with what and what money's owed to somebody else. It's all a bit of a grey area, to be honest with you. Now, don't forget, point number five, galleries are businesses and they are there to make money. And they're going to make money out of you and of every other artist. So, of course, the whole point of this is that they are there to make a profit. Can I argue whether they really care about what you're doing? I'm sure a lot of galleries do. And if you're a gallery owner, I'm sure you're going to drop me a message and say, we're wonderful and we're fantastic and we look after all our artists. Great, brilliant. And all your artists are really happy. That's fine, fantastic. What I'm trying to say to you is that you don't need to do this. So we're on point five. You don't need to go with a gallery. Now, let me go into point six and I'm going to try and clear some of these points up for you. I get very emotive and kind of worked up about this subject. All right? Okay. Now, again, I'm going to generalize on these next points now. But again, generally speaking, a lot of galleries, and what I'm talking about here, I'm not just talking online, I'm not talking online galleries, I'm talking bricks and mortar places, places you can walk into that have got show space, people that organise exhibitions for artists, all this kind of thing. These are the galleries I'm talking about, the traditional model. I'm sure you know what I mean. Many of them are just so hopelessly behind the times. We're in the 21st century now. What do I mean by that? So that's point 6. They're behind the times. You're going to entrust your work, your creativity with a business that doesn't have a TikTok account, an Instagram account, doesn't show up on Facebook, has got 100 Twitter followers. What are they doing about their active email marketing? What are they doing about finding audiences? What kind of art fairs are they attending? What are they doing to promote you that month? Do you get a weekly newsletter? Oh my, do you know what? And I'm just literally thinking off the top of my head, they could be doing so many things to attract new audiences, new buyers in this technology age. And yet, if all the ones, how many are doing this? Now I'm doing all this, and me and Adi are both really engaged in actively promoting to bring everyone to a central location, which for me and my business model is my website. And on that subject, here's another issue I have with galleries, and it doesn't matter how many I look at, not all the same, and I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush, but as a general thing, a lot of galleries' websites are very, very poor. Now I've worked in optimizing for Google and for search engines now, and I've been doing this with my own and for other people's sites for 10 years. And I do have knowledge and I do have skills and I understand what it takes. So I'm happy to pull these sites apart and have a look for myself as to how good or bad they are. And literally 9 out of 10 are awful and horrendous. And again, you're entrusting your work to these unprofessional sites and people. And they wonder why they don't take money. I mean, none of this is difficult. It's just hard work. And I will finish this video off with a note about that, because I'm going to give you the reasons why you should be doing it yourself. Okay, so number 9, often we get things in poor locations, or you get galleries that are, in little back streets or not in prime locations, so they can't rely on footfall, things like that. So, if you're absolutely adamant you have to go with a gallery and go through all of these things, please do consider their location, okay? And there's lots and lots of other different reasons, but I'll kind of finish off this little summation of my belittling of the gallery network, which does not work anymore. It's the credibility issue. Okay, so if you're an artist, whether you're established or starting out or anything, if you're with the gallery or thinking about it, and you've got this big issue, I think it was about number 3 or number 4, where you don't know who your clients are, okay, I'd love to know whether those clients actually give an absolute fudge about whether they worry about your credibility as an artist. And here's the rub here. You don't need to be with a gallery, have an immaculate CV, have done tons of solo shows, have achieved all these things, I've got an award for this, I've studied that, I've done all this stuff that the establishment tells you to do to gain credibility. Because when it comes to the rub, your clients really don't give a crap about your credibility at all. What they give a crap about is your art. And if they fall in love with it, they will buy it. If they don't like it, they won't buy it. And I know plenty of artists with amazing CVs who have been there, done that and seen it all, and now they're working minimum wage because they can't sell anything. Times have moved on, my friends. Times have moved on. We don't live in those times anymore. You do not need to have credibility and justification to sell your work. You simply need to have what you do and find the people who love it. That is it. If you are hell-bent on getting this, oh, I've got to be seen as being a great artist, then don't bother watching any more of my videos, because it's pointless. If you just want to create art and never sell it, no point you watching anything. What I'm trying to do is get you out of this mindset that you have to hand over control to somebody else, because you don't. Okay? Bring back your control. Now, if you're going to spend 50% of your turnover with a gallery to make them do all the work, inevitably, common sense says, well, if I take that work back on and do it myself, I'll earn the money, which is exactly true. So if you want to retain all of your income, you are going to have to do that work for yourself. And that's the 4-letter word here, ladies and gents. It's work. You've got to work for this. Now, whilst none of it is difficult, there is a lot to it, and it is quite involved. So my business model is this. It is a website optimized for a good user experience. It's quick. It's optimized for the search engines. There's lots and lots of factors which I go through to make sure my site is really, really good. And all I do is put everything I possibly can on there in the best way that I can. And then I drive everything that is social, email marketing, everything is all based around trying to pull people into that central point where they can look at exactly what I do. That's the whole point. So that's my model. You can make a central point of anything. You can have Etsy if that's your market. You can do eBay. You can do anything you like, but just get people into the point at which they can engage with what you're doing. Now, we live in the 21st century. We're not in pencil and paper anymore. You can find anything with a few taps on your smartphone screen. So we've got to embrace and use that. So why do you need to rely on a bricks and mortar establishment and passing trade and people sat within it who are not you to give a crap about what you do? I just find that utterly bewildering, why you would entrust that to somebody else. There's only one person you can ever rely on, and that is you. So take control of it. You don't need to be the greatest artist that's ever lived. You don't need to have won the BP Portrait Prize. You don't need to be nominated for the Turner Prize. You don't need to have studied for 27 years doing X, Y, and Z. You don't need a PhD. You just need to find the audience that love what you do. So embrace that. The whole point of this, ladies and gents, is that you don't need to go into a gallery. That's an old system. It may work and it may not work. It may be broken, it may not be broken. But galleries can't move quick enough to embrace change. They just simply don't. I generalise. If you're a gallery and you're taking offence, I apologise for that. But you probably know other galleries that have either closed or haven't stayed with the times that also have problems. So I am right. But look, artists and creatives of the world, you're actually part of the problem. The more times you go with a gallery, the more times you join a waiting list, the more times that you think that you've got to be with these people, you're keeping them going. So bring back control, take your ownership back, do this for yourselves. There's a market for all of us, and you can do this without anybody else's help. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this little video today. Quite an emotive subject. Please do leave some comments below. We'd love to hear your feedback. And if you love the content, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Plenty of juicy stuff coming through. And remember, every Wednesday, we are live streaming on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next video.